Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I've got some unusual ways to think about pricing your artwork. All right, so let me first start off with a more complicated one. How do you value your original artwork? Well, there's lots of ways to do it, and a very common way is to do it by square inch. However, there's a problem with that one. Is let's say you do stuff by $2 a square. Let's make it really easy. $1 a square inch. Okay, so an 8 by 10 is going to be 8 times 10 was $80. Okay, so that's a pretty inexpensive original painting. But if you go up like 16 by 20, so 16 by 20 is $320. Okay, and so that's all you're doing is pricing that up in exponentially by size. However, it takes you just about as much work if you pay attention to the time you spend in the work that you do to do something that's like an 8 by 10. And then if you do like a 5 by 5, it's just $25. And a print for a 5 by 5 might be sold for $25. So you see there's a problem with doing just solely square inches. So what I always recommend on your original work is to set a dollar amount first for just touching the print or touching the paint, the piece. So this will alleviate those smaller pieces being underpriced and your larger pieces not being overpriced. So you set something like $50. $50 just to touch the piece. And so what happens then is your 8 by 10 now becomes, we were talking about $80 plus $25 is $105. Okay, and then your little 5 by 5 was $25, and you added another $75 for that smaller piece. And you can adjust this. This is not a rule of thumb as far as starting off with $50 just to touch it. What you want to do is set that first price as the minimum that you will allow yourself to sell a piece at. Original. I'm talking about original pieces now. So that price might be $100, and then you do square inches, and you may adjust that square inches accordingly. Hi, Jennifer. And so you'll just have to sit down and figure out the math as to what's the minimum that you want to sell your pieces for as far as the smallest size that you go. And then work out a dollar amount to touch it and then a square inch to go up. So it might be 25 cents a square inch rather than a dollar. $100 to touch it, 25 cents on up. So you can adjust that. So that way what happens is all the hard work that you put in the smaller pieces, you'll actually get paid for. Now the other thing is don't ever price your work according to your own wallet or your friend's wallet. If you've got your friends telling you, oh my gosh, your pieces are ridiculously priced, well, consider what their budget is. And you should be pricing your work according to your wallet and what it needs in it, not what it can afford. That's rule number one. And then adjust that formula that I gave you. So a base number just to touch the piece times a square inch above that. Now on your prints, I've gotten kind of clever with that. The easiest way to price the prints that you get from Art Print Express is you get 60% off, right? So price it at a minimum. minimum of what that original price was before the 60% came off. And it will depend on where you're selling. Because if you're selling at some place that has commissions, you need to factor that in, what your commission will be and whether or not it's worth your time and effort to get a print. Now, you're not going to expect to get the same percentage of money from a print than you will from your original. So what I mean by that is you are paying a premium for the piece to be created. So the percentage of what your money back will be if you're selling through someplace else. However, if you're selling them on your own, 60%, that's a pretty good return on your investment. So and the thing is, you don't even have to have any inventory. So this is just all just rules of thumb. You may want to do it 4 times the cost of your print. It all depends on your customer base and what they can afford. And I talked yesterday about making it various items available at various sizes so that you can. Okay. Okay. If it only ever exists digitally, you just simply you got to work with the price of the prints. So you want to price it at the minimum, and I'm not saying that's your maximum at all. The minimum of the original price that you see on Art Print Express. There was some method to my madness and the way I price things. This makes it really easy for me to, here's an example. It's from my website. I'll keep a little. So a canvas wrap, it's 16 by 20, is originally $155.28. And you'll get it for like $62.11 plus shipping. And of course, you can always, here's the other little trick too. You can always add shipping to that other price and offer free shipping. And the way you can figure out shipping is, well, how much it costs me to ship it to you, for one. And which you can also find out by putting stuff in the cart. So that's one way. And so let's say that 16 by 20 is going to cost, I'm thinking that's typically a canvas print. It may cost $15 to ship it. I'm trying to think. So you would add $15 to that $155.28, and then you could sell it for, let's really make it easy. Make it $160. And you'll add the $15, so it's a $175 piece for someone to get it. And the thing is, you can ship it, send it to me to create, and then I'll ship it for you. So you're not paying shipping twice, and your customer's not paying shipping twice. So if it only exists digitally, now you also have to figure out if it only exists digitally. Here's a good example. Okay, I got a commission this weekend to do a cover of a magazine. And they wanted it to be my style. It's the only way I would have accepted it. And she did have a couple of requests. And so it ends up being, it's only going to exist digitally until I print it. Or until, the print of the magazine comes out. And so she offered me a dollar amount for the commission. And I'm not going to disclose that. So you have to decide whether or not what rights they're taking. They're just taking reprint rights. In other words, she's going to reprint. It's just typical on a magazine. She wants to be able to use it for any of her advertising. Okay, because she's going to have it on her cover, and she may want to use that cover as an example, or among other covers for her advertising. She wants to be able to, of course, publish it, make several thousand copies of it to put out, and which I'm okay with. And also, what else was it? It was just typical publisher rights, which I still retain the right. So at a later date, or maybe just after the magazine comes out, I can take that image and maybe start putting it on T-shirts or something. So I still maintain my rights. You always want to retain your rights on your work. So pricing that is back to what your original was minus the costs. And we're talking about how big it can be reproduced. So okay, hi Frankie. I just saw your question. Have you ever priced a piece of work that you knew was overpriced, but you didn't care anyway? You know what? Yes, of course I have. You know what? And sometimes that works. Here's a cute little story. Had a friend. She had several paintings shown in a church, and of course they all had price tags on them. And she had one piece in particular that she loved. She did not want to let go of it. But since she had prices on everything rather than not for sale, she decided to jack that price way up. It was 4 or 5 times more than the other pieces the same size in her show. Guess what sold first? Yeah, that piece that she didn't want to let go of. Yeah, luckily she was able to get a good picture of it. So. And so she has reproductions of, she was able to reproduce it. But yeah, she had to let go of the original because, that's a sale. But she was happy about it anyway. And I got somebody in. So I'm just going to, yeah, Frankie. All right. You know what? I might take care of this real quick. And I'll just stay on live. What the heck? You're on live. You want to just bring it in?
Yeah, you have done a 48 by 48, right?
Yes.
I mean, you have not done it.
No, I have not done it, but I can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And just had somebody in to bring in a piece. I didn't realize it was 10. Okay. So, yeah, size I can photograph. I can photograph pretty big. If I can get it in the room to photograph it, I can actually photograph it. Oh, Jennifer's leaving. We'll see you in a little bit, Jennifer. Yeah, Frankie. Yeah, so you want to be careful about how you price things, because and also you could just raise the prices on that on the rest of your stuff when you have that kind of opportunity. I price my things high because I like. I have a 18 by 24 original painting. For the area, for Kansas, for Topeka, Kansas, I price mine at $1,200 a piece, which is unusual. Just a minute, I'm going to take care of this, and then we'll get going. All right. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I even like this one. Okay, 48 by 48, and I can't remember the name.
Well, can you text me the name?
Yeah.
When you think of it.
Okay, I will.
I have a few hours before I get started on this.
Okay. Yeah, so.
Or I could call it just the big 48 by 48. Fantastic. There we go. How awesome is that?
Yeah, I was pleased with that one.
Those larger ones, if they take 2 photographs to get them good, are you okay with that?
If it works.
Okay. You can look it up later. Or you just send it to me when you're...
I'll just have to send it to you.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, go back to
But
the thing.
yeah, that's okay. Thanks for stopping in. I didn't warn you, did I? I was doing live.
No.
I do them every morning. I tried to do it earlier, but I didn't get on till about 15 minutes ago. We're talking about pricing your work. Do you have any advice in pricing your work, Beverly?
No, I do not. That is my big deal.
Yeah, everybody has that problem of we're back. I'm back. Yes, the pricing your work. Even someone who sells her work regularly.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll have to email it to you.
Okay.
I got it on my website. So.
Oh, okay.
All right.
What's your website?
Bev Radefeld at
Bev.
Bev at it's
Just Bev
Beverly
Radefeld.
Dodge Radefeld.
Okay.
You can do that. Okay.
.com.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
And cards and all of that.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
All right. So there you go. If you want to see some fantastic artwork, stop in at BeverlyDodgeRadefeld.com and see how she's pricing her work. That's another good way, is to kind of take a look at other artists and who you think is comparable to what you're doing. Yeah, you need that too. Have a great day.
I will. Thanks.
So, I'm sorry about that. That was, I need to start earlier. Anyway, so those are my basic ways to do your pricing on your work. And the thing is, the most important thing is knowing that what you feel comfortable with, and actually don't undervalue yourself. Don't price your work according to your own wallet and what you can afford, but by your own wallet and what you need in it. Okay. Then you also, the square inches, put the base price down just to touch the piece, and then do the square inches. And I can't give you exact formula because it's difficult to know. Okay. But the thing is, really, it's frustrating because when you go in and you watch people who have odd work that, if you like art in America and they're selling it for millions, the only way they can do that is because of their network and their connections. And so it depends on what your goals are. So if you price something, you can price something way out of your range, but you should also offer things that are smaller so that you have basically a passive income by not having to continuously create. Although you should be creating every day, but you want to do your best work, right? You don't want to feel pressure to constantly, have one piece a day or one piece a week or something like that, but you want to be consistent. So, Beverly is one of Jennifer's favorite artists. So, and we both own one of Beverly's works, and so she said you could just hang it on her wall. The piece that she brought in is huge. Anyway, so that's okay. So pricing, and then on the prints, I tried to make it easy to give you a minimum of value. For the print itself, no matter what it was printed on, what was printed on it. So you price your work according to what your general area can afford, or your general audience can afford. And of course, you got to go back to, putting it out there. And it's easier to start low, relatively, not underpriced, but low on the lower end and move up. It's hard to bring it down unless you do a sale on a regular basis. So that's the unexpected ways to price your work today. And I wish everybody luck on being able to price your work and get your sales. You gotta these are all experimental, and the thing is, there isn't one price for a 16 by 20. It depends on the artist, and it depends on how much they value the pieces they do, and whether or not they have prints available. You certainly don't want to be pricing your 16 by 20 original paintings at $175. Unless you're like pumping them out like, 2, 3 a day. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know anybody that's that good as to be able to price their keep up that kind of pace. Work smarter, not harder. Maybe that's what I need to talk about too. That might be another live. It's about working smarter and not harder. Anyway, well, I got to get started working, so it's my Monday. So we'll see you later.